Hello and welcome to the First Listen Guide channel. I'm the First Listen Guy, and today it is Sleep Token Sunday, episode 15. We have been on such a journey so far, and we've just started Take Me Back to Eden. And the first three songs that I reacted to in the previous episode, episode 14, have been unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable masterpieces, a work of art. The sound is just so rich, it's so exquisitely done and perfected, and I really feel like now Sleep Token have kind of found their niche, their lane. I mean, the summoning, which I know is an introduction for a lot of people that stumble across Sleep Token. It's one of the first songs that they listen to because it encompasses everything about Sleep Token. You know, you've got the more heavier stuff, you've got the funk, you've got a bit of soul, a tiny bit of jazz as well. It's just, and then on top of that, you've got the incredible layers of Vessel's lyricism and imagery and symbolism and metaphors and the language that he uses. And then if you also check out, obviously, the drumming, Maga too. It's all there. It's all there. So I want to do just a quick recap of where we've kind of got to so far in this whole journey, because I kind of feel like with Take Me Back to Eden, I'm starting to understand slightly in terms of what's happening, although I might be completely wrong. But with Sundowning, if you've seen those episodes, sorry if I'm going over old ground, but obviously I'm listening to all of this for the first time, and naturally things are going to change, you know, because hindsight is a funny thing, isn't it? Right? It's easier to look back on and go, oh, of course, now it clicks. So, and that's kind of what's happening here with me. Because I feel like with Sundowning, especially, the relationship, I guess, is actually experienced through the anema projection. And I think sleep is that archetype. I know back then I saw Sleep as more of a kind of psychopomp, and I think he still is, or she still is, I should say, because she's definitely feminine from the sort of the language and words that he's using. And I think she was that guide, the archetype to help him almost come up to the or into the shadow, the unconscious there. But also, I think she was the anema projection. And I think through Sundowning, that was the time when he was experiencing the anema projection within the relationship. He had projected onto another person, onto a female that he had obsessively fallen in love with, right? And then this place will become your tomb. I think this is where Vessel kind of starts to discover that he's projecting onto another person. And I think it starts off with him at the kind of sea level. And as you go through the album, he is almost delving deeper and deeper into that unconscious to find out what is actually going on. He's investigating it. He's starting to see things collapse within the relationship. And the anema projection is starting to dissolve, which you could say is starting to integrate. Then at the end of that, it feels like he's missed or he's lost a part of himself, right? Because the realization starts to kick in that actually this relationship wasn't all it was set out to be. It wasn't what he thought it was. And the anema projection that he projected onto this person is almost stripped bare, right? So he's really starting to see for what it really is. And I think that's really pinnacle within this sort of transformation that he's going through psychologically, right? Um, and then missing limbs, we're left with this place will become your tomb as he's lost a part of himself, right? And he's devastated by it. But in order to become whole again and find your authentic self, you have to lose and strip your ego bare, and understand it before you can then become your authentic self again. Now, Take Me Back to Eden has started off really, really interesting because, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the last episode, it feels a bit like therapy. And he is going back and revisiting fractures and fragments and memories of this past relationship. And I think now he's seeing it with a clearer mind, right? I think the anema projection, if we're taking where we were left with missing limbs, that it was being dissolved or starting to integrate, I think now the anema projection is pretty much almost integrated. And I think he's now looking back on these memories and fragments with a clearer view of actually what was going on here. The other thing as well, and I kind of want to see these next three songs and where and how they play out before I start talking about this, but I'm starting to also feel and understand Vessel and the relationship dynamic a lot better. There's definitely some kind of anxious, avoidant attachment here. And I want to talk about this at the end because I think it's playing a huge part in this whole thing and how, again, that psychologically can traumatize someone. So there's definitely two layers going on here. So take me out back to Eden. Like I said, the anema has largely now integrated with into Vessel, and he's starting to see everything a lot more clearly through a healthier lens. He's starting to see that it was an obsession, that it was a fantasy, that it wasn't truly real. The relationship was real, but how he saw it in the moment wasn't real. So let's get cracking with Aqua Regia. And again, another thing about Carl Jung and his philosophy was he was very, very interested in alchemy. He wasn't a chemist of any type, but he was very, very interested in alchemy. And medieval alchemists describe using the language of chemistry. And Jung believed that many alchemical texts were actually symbolic descriptions of the sort of psychological journey and transformation. It was almost like the inner psychological transformation rather than the literal attempts of making gold and what that kind of symbolized. Because gold, within his psychological kind of breakdown, symbolized perfection, incorruptibility, and most importantly, the self in alchemy. So, with that in mind, and obviously the song title of Aqua Regia, which we know means royal water, obviously I had to look that up, but it's a mixture of nitric acid and hydrochloric acid. And what does it do when it's mixed together? It dissolves gold. So, let's get into Aqua Regia. Let's see where this takes us and how that kind of intertwines and entangles, as Vessel would say. And we'll break it down as we normally do. All right. First listen, Aqua Regia. Oh, I like those synths. And again, the echoes and the space that it's creating here. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's a piano. Oh! Sorry. I was not expecting that. I mean, first and foremost, piano, it gets me just like the drums. I'm a sucker for it. I love it. But that was the way. And then the hey in the background, hey, and the way he just comes in so smoothly. Oh, he's bringing the soul again, isn't he? He's bringing the soul. But this has got, just from the piano, it's got that kind of jazzy feel to it. This is not a typical Sleep Token kind of groove that I've really heard that much. It's almost like a kind of lounge bar-esque type feel to it so far. But anyway, I need to go back because I wasn't listening to the words at all. And what is this thing here? It's made up of gold, which is interesting, and we know what's going to happen with Aqua Regia. Oh my God. Ooh. Broken jaw. Blood trail. Okay, so blood trail, that's a callback to the summoning, right? Interesting. Frothing at the maw, the mouth.
figs war, putting down the roses, picking up the sword.
Oh my God.
Aqua Regia.
Putting down the roses and picking up the sword. But see, think of this stuff. Wow. Okay, let's just break those first few lines down. As always, I've got the lyrics here. Well, my love is an animal call, cutting through the darkness, bouncing off the walls. Oh, damn. So this is again, this is so different from the language that he's been using in a lot of previous songs, right? A lot of songs is very mythological, and divine, sacred. This is this is animalistic, right? This is primal. This is instinctive, right? So my love is an animal call, cutting through the darkness, bouncing off the walls. It's like his cry out, or his, you could even say actually his mating call, right? Is loud. It's echoing through the darkness. And you could say as well, because it's echoing, echoes come back at you, right? They resonate. So you could then say that his animal calls are echoing in the darkness, darkness potentially being again the unconscious, or it could be shadow, it could be trauma. So are his cries out coming back to him, i.e., the memories of this of the trauma are coming back to him. They're echoing in his mind. Maybe between teeth on a broken jaw, following a blood trail, frothing at the maw. Oh my lord, that is just so. Between the teeth of a broken jaw, again, you could say that this was the communication breaking down again. You could also say that this symbolizes some again an argument, or of a confrontation. A fight happened, literally a broken jaw, maybe, or it could be trying to speak when you're already damaged as well. Of when something is so overwhelming and it's so painful and you try and speak, but actually you can't get the words out because it's just too traumatizing. It's broken. That could be what it's symbolizing as well. Following a blood trail, frothing at the mall. Oh God, I mean, again, it's this predatory imagery, isn't it? That he always calls back to. Primal. It's not romantic. It's obsessive, desperate, and he's definitely describing the relationship. But what's interesting is that none of this is divine, none of this is sacred, none of this is blissful. This is now Vessel seeing it for what it really was. Oh man. These days I'm a circuit board, integrated hardware you cannot afford. I mean, how do these things just pop into like his head? I just do not know. It's just beautiful though, isn't it? Oh my God, and something else. Do you remember the static at both Missing Limbs and also the beginning of Chokehold? You know, and one of my the regular commenters on my channel, Brian, as well, was talking about this kind of digital imagery that starts to find its and weave its way through this whole album. I mean, so could this be a callback again to that kind of static, pressurized, awkward, hard to listen to noise that kicked off this particular album and ended This Place Will Become Your Tomb? I don't know. But you could say that it's almost like it's emotional dissociation, right? It's a circuit board, it works, it does what it's supposed to do, but there's no feeling behind it, right? It's just an on and off switch. And is that how he's kind of explaining how the relationship really was? That there was no emotion, you know, behind it? Or there were points towards the end where he wasn't feeling emotionally attached anymore, or the other person as well potentially wasn't feeling emotionally attached anymore. Um, Integrated hardware you cannot afford. I mean, when he says you cannot afford, it's almost like saying that you don't have access to it, right? So if you don't have access to it, then there's no connection there. So maybe he's saying here, I've become someone that people can't get to, people can't emotionally access. Or he deliberately, or not maybe deliberately, subconsciously, unconsciously retracts himself before getting too deep. I don't know, but there's something about here that he's saying that he doesn't fully give himself to the other person. And this is where I was briefly discussing this whole kind of anxious avoidance attachment, because there's a lot of this in here where, he's talking about being in the relationship, wanting to give everything in, but as soon as it gets too close, he then retracts, because he doesn't know how to handle it. He doesn't know what to do. Or he's the one that is anxious within the relationship and he's giving everything, but the other person is the avoider and the one that retracts and pulling away. And so it's like this cat and mouse game. I don't know, but there's definitely, the whole way through this album, I think this anxious avoidance attachment, it definitely plays a huge part. It's just trying to work out the roles within that relationship. But I definitely feel like Vessel was the one that was trying to put his all into it, was obsessed with it, infatuated with it, projected the anema on this other person. That other person, was picking and choosing when to love him back. And that now has made him retract and pull away. And now he's realizing that the anema projection, or what he was seeing in this relationship, was never real, or was never there, was never true. I don't know. There's just so much, so many layers. The perfect start to a perfect war, putting down the roses, picking up the sword. Oh, I love that. I think this. There's a couple of callbacks here to Chokehold, because the perfect start to a relationship. It's that honeymoon phase, isn't it? It's that I want to spend every waking hour with this other person. I want to be with them 24/7. It's lust, it's desire, it's infatuation, but it feels great. It feels amazing, right? It feels like you're on cloud nine. But it's the perfect start to a perfect war, but it never lasts that way. That honeymoon phase, it always dies out. And it's only the strong relationships that manage to last a lifetime, because fundamentally you are destined to be with each other because you are compatible. This relationship, they ain't compatible. So it's the perfect start to a war. It's a perfect start to a relationship that's going to break down, that's going to combust and explode, which we've already seen in previous songs. So again, he's revisiting this relationship and seeing it for what it is, but he's putting this kind of chemistry lens on it, as it were, which is just putting down the roses and picking up the sword. I mean, it's again, it's very like therapy, like, because he stopped romanticizing the relationship. He's putting down the roses, but he's picking up the sword. So he's learning to defend himself, right? And again, you could say he's putting up those walls, and now they're with gold. But what's interesting with Aqua Regia, we know that the two liquids, when put together, they dissolve gold. So he's now looking at this, realizing that he had put these walls up that were made out of gold, but she was the only thing that could dissolve those walls. And he's again reliving that, both physically in his mind about the relationship, but more so psychologically, what it did to him. Right, so we're about to go into the chorus now, so let's just take this back a little bit.
Perfect war, putting down the roses, picking up the sword.
We're getting so much soul in this album so far. Oh, God, that piano. Oh, and those synths as well. What is that? Two, you can't just come in like that, buddy. You can't. You can't just subtly, slyly, smoothly just come in like that. Oh, it's so understated, and yet the groove. Oh, it's just. I don't know. Oh my God, look, I've literally got goosebumps talking about this. I've got to just come back to that when he comes in. It's just so subtle.
Well, my past is a holy book, a call from Olympus, ringing off the hook.
Olympus, gods
Sweet
again.
pain and the way you look. I'm stuck in a time where the mountains shook.
Oh,
These days I'm a picture frame, screaming out the sunshine, singing in the rain.
ooh, picture frame. Oh my God. And what do picture frames do? They like house pictures, right? Photos, memories. Oh my God. I'm sorry. This I really apologize for all the dad dancing. By the way, this album is bringing that side of me out because it's just so smooth and soulful. And this is really jazzy. I'm digging this so much. So I've really got to concentrate on the lyrics. I'm sorry.
The mountains shook. And these days I'm a picture frame, screaming out the sunshine, singing in the rain. Sugar
Oh,
on the blood cells, carbon on the brain. All of Eden's vices running through my veins.
oh, okay.
Aqua Regia, oxytocin running in the ether. Silicon ballrooms, subatomic interactions if it's all good.
He is literally breaking this into chemical elements, substances, liquids, you name it. He's given us a chemistry lesson right here. What is this thing? It's got four arms and it was made of gold. And now, I don't know, is it hung up on strings or something? This is just wow. Okay. Right. So let's break down that chorus. So, Aqua Regia, which we know is the two acids that dissolved gold, right? And he's basically saying and repeating the force that was dissolving him. Now, whether that's psychologically the force, as in the anema projection and sleep, that was forcing this projection, well, not even forcing this projection because you do it sort of, unconsciously. Um, but this force that was being projected onto the other person that was dissolving his walls, his barriers that he had put up, and finally letting his guard down. Oh, so maybe this relationship then means so much to him because he had had previous relationships, and maybe he finds it hard in a relationship to truly give himself away because he gets anxious. And when someone gets close to him, he finds it uncomfortable. He doesn't know how to cope with it. So his immediate knee jerk reaction is always to pull away. But maybe this specific person, he projected so strongly on them and fell so far and so deep in love that he was willing to actually let his guard down, let his walls down, even though they were made out of gold, because this person was so special to him in the moment. And she was the only thing that could dissolve those walls. And he's repeating the substance, the force, the love, the projection, because it was the thing, it was the moment that things changed for him. Oh, oh, okay. Right, verse 2. This is, well, my past is a holy book, a call from Olympus ringing off the hook. He's used that symbolism again. Was it the summoning? Was it summoning or chokehold? I can't remember now. Let me know in the comments. But again, talking about the gods. Um, but a call from Olympus ringing off the hook. And what's interesting with this particular line, right? He's saying my past is a holy book. He's not saying my relationship, he's saying my past. So he is literally reflecting. Call from Olympus, ringing off the hook. So, whereas in other previous albums, when he was talking about the gods and the divine, and he was treating them like, he was worshipping them, here he's saying he's almost realizing that he was worshipping them too much. He was putting this person on a pedestal like a god too much. And it's the realization now of his mistakes and his infatuation and his obsessive tendencies, maybe. This is all realization of how Old Vessel acted within the relationship. Between the pain and the way you look, I'm stuck in a time where the mountains shook. Oh, so between the pain and the way you look. Oh my God, this is so clever. He's talking about here, he's talking about desire, right? The way you look. Whenever he sees her, there's this inner emotional pull towards her that he cannot avoid, he cannot control. His desires and wants and needs for her on a physical, probably even sexual level is just too much for him. He gives in to her. But he's also talking about between the pain and the way you look. So he knows inside the emotional trauma of the relationship, the pain that he is going through, whether that's brought on by her or himself. But because he is so attracted to her, he can't help himself. He can't stop. I mean, that is literally trauma bonding in one sentence right there. I'm stuck in a time where the mountain shook. So he's saying that he's frozen, that he was stuck, or I'm stuck. Maybe he's the trauma is the thing that is keeping him from moving. And it was a time when the mountain shook, and mountains are huge things. So this was so big that it completely shook him to the core, shook his world. And he is stuck there. He is constantly reliving it through memories, trying to potentially understand it as well. I think this is what it this is all this so far, this album is all about understanding what happened through a new perspective, through a clearer mind. The fog has disappeared, the projection has gone. And these days, I'm a picture frame. Oh, when I heard this lyric here, oh my God. Screaming at the sunshine, singing in the rain. Oh God. And so the first thing that came into my mind was a picture frame, right? It houses photos, it houses memories. So with a usually with a piece of glass, right? So it is preserving them. It's preserving memories. So these days, I'm a picture frame. Again, it's all about reflection. I'm a picture frame. I'm the one that is inside, is housing and preserving all these memories. Screaming at the sunshine, singing in the rain. So scream. I mean, normally when the sun's shining, right, and you're out in the sunshine, you're enjoying yourself. Yeah. So he's saying he's screaming in the sunshine. He's not enjoying the sunshine, but he's singing in the rain. So he is far more comfortable at being in the rain and being in uncomfortable situations, in potentially painful situations, because that's all he's lived in, that's all he's known, that's all he's kind of either treated himself or been treated. What a beautiful symbolism there to explain that. Sugar on the blood cells, carbon on the brain. I mean, sugar in the blood cells, right? So when you have a lot of sugar it makes you hyper, it makes you giddy. It's also that kind of dopamine effect as well. You could say that rush of blood, um, carbon on the brain. And again, he's using a similar thing that he did in Granite about smoke, carbon deposits, pollution. Uh, you could also say, it symbolizes damage, for example. So again, you've got the rush of blood and you've got the carbon, you've got the damage behind it. Again, it's talking about the two sides, this relationship of the desire on a physical level, but actually the emotional trauma on a psychological level. And he's using elements, chemistry, all of Eden's vices running through my veins. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This line. So if you notice, he's saying all of Eden's vices, right, running through his veins. So he's not talking about Eden, this mystical, purified world where Adam and Eve lived. He's talking about the vices. He's talking about the point of where Eve took the apple from the tree of knowledge and bit into it. He's talking about the grief. He's talking about temptation. Oh, and that maybe kind of explains this whole album, that actually Eden isn't about take me back to Eden, going back to being this purified person. Maybe he's talking about take me back to Eden so that I can understand it from the beginning and relive it through a different perspective. Because otherwise it's the whole album title, right, is quite ironic because you can't go back, right? Once you've seen the anema projection and you've integrated it and you've seen the shadow and you've seen the unconscious and it's merged, you can't unsee it, right? You have to then understand it, relive it through a different perspective to then be able to fully integrate and become your authentic self. So is that what is happening, what this journey ahead is, and why the album is called Take Me Back to Eden? God. And he's literally just explained it all in one sentence. It's all about this temptation to constantly go back there when he knows it's not good for him. Oh my God, wow. And again, that is also emphasizing the cycles and patterns that he's constantly been through. Oh, the layers, the layers. Right, Aqua Regia. Oh, and then he goes into this. Let's just listen to this bit again.
All of Eden's vices running through my veins.
There was that chemistry lesson, Vessel.
Regia, oxytocin running in the ether. Silicon, ballrooms, subatomic interactions if it's all good.
What? Gold Rush. Acid Flux. Oh my God. He's literally just again explained why this song is called Aqua Regia. Because he's saying here, Gold Rush, Acid Flux, saturate me. I can't get enough. So he's the Gold Rush, she's the Acid Flux, and he loves it. He loves the taste of that acid. Purely on a physical level. This has got nothing to do with emotions here or emotional sort of connection. I think this is talking about physical attraction. And he loves it. He's saying, saturate me, dissolve me, consume me. Again, that kind of language that he keeps using. Wow. Sorry, I just had to stop that. We're getting a piano solo.
No wonder my ears are still ringing, and I am done fighting off change.
Oh,
No wonder my arms are still swinging. Aqua Regia, oxytocin running in the ether. Silicon ballrooms, subatomic interactions if it's all good. Gold rush, acid flux, saturate me, I can't get enough. Cold love, hot blood, right into your heart when you're thinking of.
oh, wow. That was just, honestly, you could make love to that song. You literally could make love to that song. It's just so silky smooth. I don't know how he does it. Right, I'm gonna have to look some of this up because I just have no idea on what some of the stuff that he's talking about here. So, Aqua Regia, oxytocin running in the ether, silicon ballrooms, subatomic interactions, if it's all good. Gold rush, acid flux, saturate me, I can't get enough. Cold love, hot blood, running to your heart when you're thinking of. So oxytocin. So I know oxytocin is the hormone for love, basically, right? And oxytocin running in the ether. So it's like, it's such a beautiful way of basically saying love is in the air, right? It's in the ether. Silicon ballrooms, silicon ballrooms. I know that silicon is the second, I think it's the second biggest element behind oxygen. Let me know in the comments if I'm completely wrong there, but I think that's right. So silicon ballrooms. Ballrooms is a place that you go to dance, right? With a partner. So is it just a nice way of saying when two people come together and they're dancing, and it's that entanglement again. Um, Subatomic interactions, if it's all good. Subatomic. I'm gonna have to look this one up, I'm afraid. Right, so subatomic, it's about the literally minute particles. It's like neutrons, protons, that type of thing, but it's tiny, tiny atoms, right? So you could say here subatomic interactions. It's the smallest of moments between us that he's latching onto. They probably mean absolutely nothing, and his mind is overthinking it to the point where it could just be a look across the room, and he thinks, oh my God, she's looking at me. What does that mean? Have I done something wrong? Or it's like that, gosh, when I was like 16, and you used to send a text message, and at the end you just put TB, right? Text back. Um, it's like that. And if they didn't reply within like the first 15, 20 minutes, your brain would just be on fire. You'd be like, oh my God, she hasn't text back. Why hasn't she text back? Have I done something wrong? Was it something I said? Did I not say something correctly in that text? Have they found another person? Your brain just goes on overdrive. And I think that's kind of potentially what he's talking about here. Gold rush, acid flux, again, he's the gold rush, she's the acid flux, she's the thing that's completely dissolving him. Saturate me, I can't get enough. Cold love, hot blood. That is cold love. I mean, if there is ever a kind of way of symbolizing anxiety, avoidance, attachment, it's that right there. Cold love, hot blood. You've got someone that doesn't want it or that is cold, and you've got someone that really wants it, that is hot and passionate. And the two just don't mix. Running to your heart when you're thinking of. And when you're thinking of what? When you're thinking of each other, when you're thinking of sex, desire. Wow. And then, oh, and I am done dancing to alarm bells. And I think here, done dancing to alarm bells, you could say alarm bells are like red flags, right? So I'm done with that now. I'm done with playing your game. I'm seeing them now for what they are, as red flags, and I'm done with it. No wonder my ears are still ringing. However, the echoes of those red flags are still ringing in my ears. I can still feel that emotional trauma whenever I go back to those memories. And I'm done fighting of and I'm done fighting off change. So this whole time he's been fighting off the voices in his head that were telling him that something's not right here. And he was trying his best to make this whole relationship work. Now that he's seeing this relationship for what it is because the projection has fallen and dissolved. He's done with fighting it. He's willing change. And that for me is integration. He's basically openly said here, I'm wanting to change. I'm wanting to move past this, learn from this relationship, learn from the mistakes, and move on. And no wonder my arms are still swinging because he's been fighting for so long. His body is still longing for it. The addiction within him is still there. But mentally, he is now stronger. Mentally and psychologically, he knows what happened. And this whole Aqua Regia for me is him breaking it down using chemistry because because he's seeing the relationship for what it was on a chemical level, right? On a human level, on why it happened. Oh my God, it's so clever. It is so clever. Okay, it blows my mind. So if we kind of go over again, Chokehold was about how he was completely consumed by this relationship and by this person within that relationship. Summoning was about the chemistry, the obsession, the infatuation between them. And then Granite was him seeing the relationship for what it was. The perception had changed. And then you've got Aqua Regia, where he's actually trying to understand what the relationship did to him, hence the use of chemistry and using that lens and that perception. He's trying to detangle it, untangle it. Right, let's get on to Vore, shall we? Now, Vore, I know, has been a lot of people's one of their top songs, so I can't wait for this. Vore. The hell's just happened? Oh my God. And what on earth is this? It looks like some kind of like insect or something. Wow. Before we really get into this, let me just bring up Vore, as in what the meaning is. Let me have a little look. I haven't actually checked, so bear with. Vore is an unusual sexual fetish or fantasy where a person feels excitement from the idea of eating another creature, being eaten alive, or watching someone else get consumed. Oh my God. I mean, it's physically impossible. So, but right. I mean, again, we're talking about being consumed again, which has been one of the running themes throughout the whole of Sleep Token's discography, right? I just want to check, by the way, quickly, because my camera's been playing up again. No, we're all right. Um, yeah, consumed, right? Again, it's talking about being consumed, um, being swallowed up. Now, I guess the metaphor for that is being overwhelmed by something or being suffocated by something. You know, you could say chokehold is a consumption, a way of being consumed. Um, Also, it's about thresholds. And we know Carl Jung especially loves threshold. It's that kind of, the past, present, and then future, or the threshold of change. Um, and again, it harks all the way back to Jaws. I mean, that is all about consumption. Um, and actually, that makes complete sense, actually, with the whole relationship. And maybe it was a kind of fetish to him. I don't know. But anyway, let's get. This is blowing my mind, by the way, how heavy this is. And I'm going to definitely have to. Let me just get the lyrics up because I can't understand what he's saying, but he ain't happy by the sounds of it. Oh my God. Oh, he's on the double bass pedal. Wow. Right, let's stop it there before we get too far into it. That looks like some kind of like praying mantis or something. God, which is interesting because I know a praying mantis because I have one. They have such strong jaws, right? And they literally do rip the head off other insects and consume them. So, and then you've got the claws with the spikes on them that they grapple their prey with, and they are so fast. Like, I mean, you can't even see how fast they are when they're in that sort of predatory state. So this is really interesting. It's also got snakes as well coming out the back of it. And snakes are quite deceiving, aren't they? They're sly. That's kind of what the symbolism is for a snake, cunning. Um, wow, that's also really, really hard to hear. Now, I'm not a huge lover of kind of death metal or anything like that. I find it uncomfortable to listen to. It's fun when it's like this, don't get me wrong, and it's definitely kind of you get the anger, frustration behind it. So let's break it down. Um, you have become the voice in my head. Only recourse we're left after death. Your viscera, welcome me in, welcome me in. You have become the voice in my head. Oh, so notice now the language from Chokehold, but especially the summoning, where it was all very external. He was reliving memories, right? He was reliving the feelings and the emotions. Here, it's now internal, right? So Aqua Regia, he's unpicked why he was feeling the way he was feeling. Now this is all internal. And like I said, if Aqua Regia by the end of it, he was consciously choosing to change, i.e., to integrate. This is now an internal battle. This is now him internally trying to work out how it's changed him. So it's almost like the relationship has ended, but the psyche is still talking to him about it. Oh, only recourse we're left after death. Oh, so so here he's not talking about literal death, I don't think. This is again about the relationship's death. That is now died, and then he's trying to now figure out what is he left with? What is left? What is left within himself, within his own psyche? This is kind of like shadow work now, right? Understanding the emotions, the trauma, and working through it. Your viscera welcome me in. So viscera is your internal organs. It's like all your sort of stomach, intestines. It includes your heart. It's like all the major organs, pretty much. So your viscera welcome me in. Well, this is really like out of all the songs so far that I've heard, this is literally like Jung talking because it's all about internal. It's all about being swallowed, being consumed, thresholds. And here he's literally saying, "Your viscera welcome me in." You know, he's not asking to be loved anymore. He's asking to be taken within himself. This isn't about her. This is him talking to himself. Is what I'm understanding. Um, my life is torn. My bones they bleed. My metaphors fall short in the end. My life is torn, my bones they bleed. So his life is torn. It's been torn apart because he's now not the person that he was back then. And again, torn, right, there is a visible rip, which you could say is another form of a threshold, and his bones they bleed. Now we know bones don't bleed, but that's maybe how much to the core this has hurt him. It's so deep. It's literally to the core of him, his bones. My metaphors fall short in the end. Wow. Even my metaphors aren't enough. I mean, if ever there is a songwriter that uses metaphors, it is Vessel. His songs, every song, are littered with metaphors. But now he's saying even his metaphors aren't enough. Even the language that he uses isn't enough to either make him feel better, save this relationship, make it work. And you could say from a psychological standpoint that trauma gets to a point where words don't work anymore, right? Which is why I think this is so internal, because you have to work internally. You have to listen to your mind. You have to open up to your unconscious. You have to go through and revisit the trauma, revisit the pain. And this is, I kind of feel like, is what is happening here. He is wanting to be consumed by the pain in order to get better. I mean, how incredible is that? Vore. Wow. Are you in pain like I am? I don't know. Sorry, I don't know how far we've got. So let's just take this back a bit and just carry it on, and then I can always go back. Oh, here we go. Am I in pain like I am? Oh, God, it sounds so good. Oh, God, that wailing in the background. Oh, that's interesting. Because before in Aqua Regia, he was talking about being frozen or stuck where the mountain shook. So now he's here, he's saying, we remain stuck. Will we remain stuck? Sorry. So he's asking a question. Will we remain stuck in the throat of gods? Okay. It's literally what I've just been saying. Oh. 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 Wow. Oh, oh wow, we're on the pads now again. I've just had a thought because a lot of these visualizers they start off with this kind of like um, backlight, and then it's like the shadow of the creature, and then it comes into focus. I'm wondering if these kind of like creatures, guardians, whatever you want to call them, are parts of his unconscious. They are representing different aspects, different sides, different emotions, different chemical elements, whatever you want to call it, that are representing each song. And if that's the case, that is just, I mean, again, it's another thing that's just blown my mind. I mean, Sleep Token are an onion. The layers is just, oh dear. Right, let me just break this down. So, are you in pain like I am? Will we remain stuck in the throat of gods? Will the pain stop if we go deeper? See, I think with this particular question, he is definitely not speaking to another person. It's too internal for that. So, are you in pain like I am? If you think he's talking to himself, is he talking to his unconscious? Or is he just generally just speaking to his whole self, saying, are you in pain like I am? And he's trying to understand that pain, or he's trying to build up some kind of comfort that he's not alone, right? That he's not by himself living with this, that there is, that he that he's, I think because he has been, for so long, he has been using another person as a comfort blanket. He's now trying to create his own comfort blanket, if that makes sense. And the way that he's doing that is by talking to himself. You know, when you try and, G yourself up for something, is that what he's doing here? Are you in pain like I am so that he doesn't feel like he's the only person suffering? Will we remain stuck in the throat of gods? I mean, again, you go back to Aqua Regia, where is that there was that call from Olympus, also in the summoning as well. So now these gods or this person or these feelings is consuming him. So you could say that he's still being tormented, right, by the myths, by the anema projection. It's still there that he's trying to work through them. Will the pain, and that's why I think he comes next with, will the pain stop if we go deeper? If we keep diving into these memories, these fractured parts of his mind, the unconscious, will this pain stop? Will I become whole again? He's trying to understand the process now of integration. So let's get swallowed whole. I want to go where nobody else will ever go. Again, no one can ever go inside your own mind. And that's now where he wants to go. He wants to go deeper. So let's get swallowed whole. So he's literally saying that he wants to walk into the darkness here. He wants to be swallowed whole. He wants to be consumed by it because he wants to understand the memories. And if he understands the memories, will that make him feel better? And I think that's where I want to go where nobody else will ever go. I mean, that sounds like therapy to me. Again, it's that thing of no one else can go in my own head. It's only me, and only I can go there. Wow. And then I think we go into the next bit. Let's just. All right, sorry, I've just missed a load of bit there, I think. Water flesh so warm again. We step into my suffering. So is that him walls of flesh so warm again. Is that him kind of reliving a memory of being entrapped or held by this person, feeling their warm flesh? But again, we step into my suffering. But those were the moments when I was suffering deep within. I couldn't handle that contact, or, again, it goes back to that kind of anxiety of being or of wanting to be with someone, but not knowing how to deal with that. So retracting, it makes him feel uncomfortable. Was that a moment, maybe? My only need, welcome me in, welcome me in. You could also say as well, actually, with my suffering, is that he's also taking responsibility, right? It's my suffering. It's not your suffering. It's my suffering. My only need, welcome me in, welcome me in. So again, I think he's surrendering here. He's surrendering here to himself, to the unconscious. He wants to go deeper. There is always something in the way. I want to have you to myself for once. So there is always something in the way, right? So this is about resistance here. And it's almost like, when you make excuses for yourself for not being able to do something, it kind of feels like that, right? Oh, I've tried this before. There's always something in the way. Something always stops me, right? I want to have you to myself for once. God, I want to have you. So if we're taking it that you isn't about the other person, he's talking to himself. Is he saying, just for once, I want to have these memories to myself? I want it to be uninterrupted. I don't want these defense mechanisms or this resistance to get in the way. I want to surrender to it so that I can truly relive the pain in order to process it. Oh my Lord. I mean, on face value, you'd think that's obsessive, right? I want you to myself for once. But if we're talking it from a psychological standpoint, he wants his own memories for himself. Oh, oh wow. And do you know what the crazy thing is with this as well, is that he because he's seeing it clearer now through a clearer mind, it's almost like he wants to enjoy that. There's no anema projection, there's no fog, there's nothing. It's just pure memory. Right, and then I think I mean, I tell you what, the kind of peaks and troughs with this song. And you actually feel like you're floating within the unconscious right now. All the echoes in the space, the atmosphere. Is that the black liquid again? Oh my God. Is that black or is that deep red? That looks like deep red. Is that blood? Oh, that's interesting. If it's blood, and he's used a lot of blood, talking about, I've always sort of, related that to the body, and it's coming out of this thing. It's almost like he's being washed away with it, or sanitized almost, or something like that. I don't know. For once, God. Oh yeah. What's that? What are those things? They're like tentacles coming out of the ground. Wow. Oh, look at that. Definitely looks like blood coming out there. Right. So, follow me between the jaws of fate so I can have you to myself for once. So let's get swallowed whole. I want to go where nobody else will ever go. There's always something in the way. I want to have you to myself for once. Are you in pain like I am? Are you in pain like I am? And he repeats that as well, which is um so follow me between the jaws of fate. So Jaws. I think Jaws. I really do believe this, and I've always had this with all the callbacks and the references. Jaws is, I think, and I might actually do an even deeper dive of Jaws now that I've got all this kind of this new sort of theory and concept and context around it all, because I do think it epitomizes maybe the relationship, the turmoil of it. Maybe that was the sort of the I don't know, the most clear view of the relationship, maybe. But anyway, it's just interesting that again he uses the word jaws, but it's referenced a lot in a lot of songs. Follow me between the jaws of fate. Again, thresholds, right? Jaws, your mouth. You can go in, you can come out, you can speak through it, you can bite with it. But the jaws of fate, it's almost like a doorway, right? To you've got your old self here, and you're looking through that threshold into your fate, into the future, right? So he's saying, follow me between the jaws, come with me, consume me, or I want to be consumed. I want to go through this threshold and see my fate, i.e., I want to work through this pain. I want to work through these fractured memories, and I want to see my fate. I want to get there. And again, is that again describing this journey of take me back to Eden, not to, you know, how everything was before Adam, but and Eve, took a bite of the apple, but of understanding all of these emotions and being my authentic self, not purified, but integrating everything. Oh, wow. And are you in pain like I am? It's interesting that that's repeated a lot as well. And maybe it's maybe he's repeating it to try and understand or to help him get to that answer or to emphasize the connection between himself by making himself feel like making whatever it is that's inside of him connected by saying, are you feeling what I'm feeling? Because if the answer is yes, then that is integration. And maybe it's that unanswered question that we're waiting for it to be answered. Oh, wow. So I think where what sort of Vore is all about here, it's about accepting, isn't it, the pain and the anguish and the torment and the trauma that he went through, letting it consume him, letting it flood him. Again, reference to Atlantic, flood me with these traumas, this emotion, so that I can work through it, right? And I think that's the kind of the symbolism behind this whole song, so that he can then become healthier again because he will understand it. Okay, so Vore was what a song. and it was just the right balance for me in terms of the sort of heaviness of it. But let's get on to Ascensionism. I am so pumped for this because it's been one of those, a little bit like Euclid, a lot of comments talking about this particular one. Obviously, I've already reacted to Ascensionism, so go check that out. But I haven't broken it down, and I haven't actually listened to it either that much since. So it'd be good to hear it again with a different perspective, because obviously that's what we're doing at the moment. So let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to use this one because I know there's no actual sleep token visualizer for this. And the previous reaction that I did, I think some of the lyrics weren't correct. So I've obviously got the lyrics here. Um, he says, I actually don't. Let me get them. Yeah, so I'm not going to have any lyrics on the screen. I've got them here next to me, and then we'll break them down. But yeah, I know that this is a beautiful, beautiful song, but I genuinely cannot wait to listen to this because obviously I had no context behind it when I first listened to it, and now obviously I do. Let's just talk about Ascensionism because it means rising, right? So whether that is physically rising, religiously rising, psychologically rising, but what's really, really interesting now that I've just listened to Vore, because Carl Jung, right, in the whole sort of integration process, as you know, especially with this place will become your tomb, you have to descend before you can then ascend. So obviously um, we've descended through this place will become your tomb, which where the anema projection dissolved. And since then, a lot of it has been, we've kind of been at the ocean bed, really, to be honest. We haven't actually come back up yet, I don't think, because a lot of it is the anema projection has been integrated. But so far with this, it's with this album, it's all been very reflective. So it's almost like he's there and he's trying to understand and go back to the relationship and how it made him feel, why it made him feel that way, and what is he feeling now. So, is Ascensionism the actual start of the self integration and of him ascending from rock bottom, from the seabed, back up towards the surface? Let's find out. This piano is so beautiful.
Well, I know.
I just want to check something. I might be way, way off here, but let me just check something. Spotify. Which one was it? High Water, wasn't it?
I defeat again. I will accept that I can't pretend we will ever be together.
Right.
What you want.
Right. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. There is a moment in High Water. You can't hear it on my phone. So what I'll do is I will put I'll play it through Spotify on here so you can listen to the moment I'm talking about. There is definitely the similarities between High Water, the notes, and what is being played here with these notes. There's definitely a similarity there.
Well, I know what you want.
Oh God, his voice just kills me. See, now this is realization, isn't it? He's starting to understand.
You want someone
Oh my God, but I don't think actually this is him talking to himself. Could this be him talking to the female that it was in at that relationship? Oh, wow, let's see how this plays.
Someone to be. Your reflection, your bitter deception, setting you free. So you take what you want, then leave.
Right, let's just, before we get into that, I know it's going to kick off, so deal with it. But let's just break this down because, oh, it is absolutely haunting. Okay, well, I know what you want from me. You want someone to be your reflection, your bitter deception, setting you free. And straight away, there's clarity here. He's not asking a question. He is definitive in what he's saying. It's clear, right? Which is the biggest telltale so far. So he's basically saying that he understands what she wants. Now, if he's talking to her, as in the other person in the relationship, it's almost like I understand why you did what you did to me because I did that same thing to you. And oh, were they both projecting on each other? Because a lot of this in certain, and please tell me in the comments which song it was, but there was a particular line where they were talking about, was it Granite? Where they would rather, I think it was Granite, where they would rather die than be lonely, than be 6 feet under. So have two people that were in that moment in time in their lives needed someone for whatever reason, needed a shoulder to cry on, but they both projected on each other to the point when they first started, it was so incredibly deep and rich because they were infatuated with each other, obsessing over each other. But then over time, as the projections started to dissolve and fade away for potentially both of them, or maybe one's projection started to dissolve before the other, hers maybe, she started to resist. He was still projecting, so he still wanted and still had those passionate feelings for her, couldn't understand why she was pulling away. She was feeling uncomfortable by that, was too overwhelmed. She then started to see the relationship for actually what it was before he did, but then he started to understand, and that's where we are now. And maybe he's realized, I understand because I am now going through what you went through. And maybe she's already moved on. Again, there was another bit, what song was it where he was talking about, I want to feel the way that you feel, your indifference. Oh, blimey. Wow. You want someone to be your reflection. So again, he's talking about projection here. You wanted someone to be how you perceive them, the same way that I did. Your bitter deception setting you free. And what's crazy about this is that that deception, that projection in the moment was actually setting them free. You know, like they were just wrapped up in this honeymoon phase. They felt liberated by it. But actually, it was the perfect start to the perfect war. So you take what you want and leave. And you know what? Granite hinted at this. Granite hinted at this, and now Ascensionism is understanding it. Right, and then we're going to go into the next bit. Oh, this is blowing my mind. Oh my God.
Who made you like this? Who encrypted your dark gospel in body language? Synapses snap back in blissful language. Tell me you met me in past lives, past life, past what might be eating me
That
from the
cadence and flow.
inside, darling. Half algorithm, half deity, glitches in the code, or gaps in a strange dream. Tell me you guessed my future and it mapped onto your fantasy. Tell me into your mannequin and I'll turn you into my puppetry. Won't you come and dance in the dark with
Oh,
me? Show me what you are. I am desperate to know. Nobody better than a perfect enemy. Digital demons make the night feel heavenly. Make it real, 'cause anything's better than the way I feel right now. I can offer you a blood clip paradise. Diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night sky. Lipstick, chemtrails, red flags, pink nails, with one eye on the door, other eye on a rail.
oh my God.
I follow in a scarlet trail, and the last few drops from the
Right, I've got to start. I could just let this play. And it's so R&B, isn't it? It's great. It reminds me of like the old school boy bands, R&B soul bands. Oh, it's beautiful. But anyway, I'm going to pull it back a little bit. But I need to. There's a lot to unpack here. Um, so, who made you like this? Who encrypted your dark gospel in body language? So, who made you like this? And again, the tone of it, he's not angry, right? He's asking the question because he's curious. It's like, what made you into the person that you are? What happened in your life, in your past, that made you into who you are now and how you feel or how you perceive things? He's trying to understand. And also, going back to kind of in therapy, you don't say, that you're an evil person. You say to the person, what made you evil? Or if you're a horrible person, what made you horrible? You don't just come out and say, right, you're evil and start pointing fingers. You need to understand it. You need to get to the core of the reason behind why they are what they are. Um, so who encrypted your dark gospel in body language? And if you take if something is gospel, right, that is something that is believed, without doubt, without question. It is gospel. And he's saying, who encrypted your dark gospel in body language? So he's saying that you don't talk to me. It's not about, communication here. He's talking about body language, how she is showing him the dark gospel, her dark truths. And maybe that's why the communication was breaking down, the broken jaw or whatever, because actually her love language, as it were, and maybe this is why they weren't on the same level, was physical. And yet what he was longing for maybe was the communication, was the words, the affirmation of those words. But actually he didn't. He was getting the body language. And maybe that's something that he didn't understand. Or if it's dark gospel, sorry, in body language, maybe it's talking about actually the violence in the relationship, and um, who encrypted your dark gospel in body language? So her avoidance, her violence, maybe synapses snap back in blissful anguish. So it's literally like the nervous system is rewiring itself, right? It's snapping back. It's almost like the brain is associating love with suffering, right? It's taking suffering and seeing it as love, right? So he's saying, who made you like this? He is trying to understand her. He's trying to understand why she was wired like this. Hmm. Tell me you met me in past lives, past lie, past what might be eating me from the inside, darling. So you could say, tell me you met me in past lives. It's almost like that thing of like I've known you forever. It's almost like that moment when you've been with someone for a short space of time and yet it feels like you've known them for the whole of your life. And he's saying past was it past lives, past lie. So is he saying tell me this to make me feel better because that's what I want to hear? Past what might be eating me from the inside, darling. It's almost like he's saying here, past what might be eating me from the inside. So again, is this him talking about going even deeper past all the stuff that's internally eating me and pushing through it? Half algorithm, half deity. I mean, I think here he's talking about the love that they have. And what was funny was in Aqua Regia, love was all about chemistry, right? And that's how he described it. Here, he's saying half algorithm, right? Half deity. So he's talking about coding now. He's talking about digital love. And he's saying, and also sacredness as well, though, half algorithm, half deity. And with algorithms repeat patterns, right? Deity is divine, is sacred. So he's saying that she's part predictable, because the patterns are on a cycle, it's on a loop, right? But also she's that half sort of divine goddess almost that he has been infatuated with, worshipping. So it's like half of it he understands, but the other half it's he can't understand. And that's always been the issue maybe within this relationship. You could also as well, there could be a psychological lens on this, is that he's also talking to the anema. He's also talking to the Nema that's now integrated as well, trying to understand the projection of it. Oh, I don't know. It's just the layers again. I keep saying it. Glitches in the code or gaps in a strange dream. So again, I think it's emphasizing that there were parts to this that he just could not understand, and there were glitches in this relationship. There were parts of this code that were just he couldn't control or he couldn't understand. Gaps in a strange dream. When you kind of wake up and you think, oh, I've had the strangest of dreams, but I can't remember the whole thing in order, just parts of it. And maybe, it's a realization here. Tell me you guessed my future and mapped it onto your fantasy. So tell me you guessed my future and it mapped onto your fantasy. So this is projection in literally a sentence here. It's her fantasy. And you guessed my future. So you didn't know my future. You were guessing it. It's like you don't love the person. You love what they imagine to be, until reality arrives, of course. So turn me into your mannequin. I mean, this is beautiful. Turn me into your mannequin, right? So mannequin is something that it's a statue, right? It's dressed, but it's not alive. And you can position it where you want. You can control it, manipulate its body parts and all this. So turn me into your mannequin is basically saying I'm surrendering, to you. You can do what you want with me at your own will, i.e., you can fit me to be whatever you want me to be, right? It's that domination. You dominate me, and I will surrender to you. I'll turn you into my puppet queen. So again, it's just emphasizing I'll be your mannequin, you'll be my puppet, you'll be putting the strings. And what he's doing here is that he's understanding that that's how he acted, that he was willing to play that role. He was willing to be manipulated for whatever reason, because he wanted to feel love so much, probably. Won't you come and dance in the dark with me? Show me what you are. I am desperate to know. So this, I think, is now talking to unconscious, right? Won't you come and dance in the dark with me? Won't you come and revel in this unconscious that I'm starting to fall into? This is the start of Ascensionism, of rising. I'm desperate to know. Show me what you are. And if you're, and if this is to the other sort of person, maybe this is something that he's wanting to do together to help each other. Maybe there is a truce along the line somewhere where he's actually gone, right, in order for me to self-integrate, I need to have this conversation with her. We both need to sit down and understand this together so that we can then both become whole again. Show me what you are. I'm desperate to know. Nobody better than the perfect enemy. So, maybe here the enemy isn't the female in the relationship. It's the projection that was the enemy, because that was the thing that caused this whole upset, this whole relationship breakdown. And it's the perfect enemy because it's something that you can never truly defeat, because it's an illusion, right? Sorry, I've got a fly in my face. It's an illusion, and it's something that you have to work through, understand, in order to then become whole. Digital demons make the night feel heavenly. Digital demons. I mean, there's a lot of digital coding kind of references here, and also the circuit board as well. So is he saying that the relationship basically at the end was just an operating system, and it's just his way of expressing the demons and the turmoil that was within this relationship, because all it was in the end was just a relationship going through its paces. Um, it was just kind of automatic and predictable. Because anything's better than the way I feel right now. And he's admitting how bad this whole process is. And and if you take the line before, make it real, because anything is better than the way I feel right now. So it's like, it goes back to that whole thing of he was comfortable in pain, he was comfortable in trauma because that's all he knew. And now at the moment, reliving all of this, all these memories, and seeing it for what it really is really painful. So it's that push and pull. It's wanting to go into the shadows, but also the realization that it's going to hurt. Um, I can offer you a blacklit paradise, diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night skies. Oh, didn't we have pentagrams in the night skies? Wasn't that oh my God. The night the night does not belong to God? Wasn't that was there was a reference in there, right, about pentagrams in the night sky. Diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night sky. So I can offer you a blacklit paradise, diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night sky. So blacklit reveals, or so I should say, sorry, black light reveals light that you can't see with normal light, right? So is he talking about um, the hidden truth, right? The paradise of the unconscious hidden truth here. I can offer you. So he's basically saying, I think he's talking to either the other person or again himself, that I can offer you paradise where the truth gets hidden. It's talking about avoidance here. It's so this whole relationship of wanting but not wanting is just runs the whole way through the whole of Sleep Token. And the way that he comes up with all this different imagery as well. But diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night sky. If we're talking about the stars, maybe the light that hits on the leaves as well at nighttime. So he's just, I don't know, he's re-emphasizing maybe the darkness, but in such a kind of beautiful way. Lipstick, chemtrails, red flags, pink nails. Let's just see where we're up to. I lose track.
Lipstick,
Okay.
chemtrails, red flags, pink nails with one eye on the door, other eye on a rail, other eye following a scarlet trail, and the last few drops from the holy grail. Now rose gold chains, ripped lace, cut glass, blood stains at the collar piece. Just don't ask, be the first to the feast. Let's choke on the past and
Choke again.
to the broken skies at last.
It's really interesting that he keeps saying diamonds and trees because it's literally going all the way back to the beginning again. And I wonder why that is. Is that because it's signifying the whole journey that he's been on so far, and that he's reliving all of those albums, all of those songs, all of those stories, the whole journey to where he is now, which is accepting all of that, integrating it all, and now ascending? Don't know. I don't know. But anyway, lipstick, chemtrails, blah, blah, blah. Lipstick, chemtrails, red flags, pink nails, with one eye on the door, other eye on a rail, while the other eye following a scarlet trail, and the last few drops from the Holy Grail. God. It's like, again, it's a little bit like granite, right? These from what I'm getting from this, it's like fractured pieces of memories again. He's remembering, the lipstick, which I think was in Jaws, was it? Something about that? Chemtrails, red flags. We've spoken about red flags in previous songs as well. Um, so these are like little snapshots, basically, which is often how the memory works. One eye on the door. And there was another thing as well as you in Jaws where you walk towards the door. What's that lyric now? Can't remember, but there was something about as you something about your eyes looking at me whilst you walk towards the door, something like that. And again, this is that whole like avoidance thing. It's like you're in this, right? But you're also aware of where the door is just in case you need to leave. And that can be either from him or her perspective. Scarlet Trail, again, blood. We've had that within the summoning as well. So is this talking about wounds here? Again, pink nails. While the other eye, so with one eye on the door, other eye on a rail, holding onto a rail. So one eye's there, one eye. So you've got one eye on the door leaving. You've got the other eye on the rail where you're staying. So you're both here, but you're also you know where to leave just in case. And then, while the other eye following a scarlet trail, again, your memory, your going back to old wounds, um, fights, arguments, and the last few drops from the Holy Grail. And the last few drops from the Holy Grail, rose gold chains, ripped lace, cut glass. Again, these are all fragments of memories of situations that have happened. Rose gold chains, ripped lace, cut glass. Again, was that rose gold chains? Again, could that be a sort of sexual fetish, maybe? Ripped lace, again, that could be either a sexual fetish or it could be an argument where, someone's gone to leave, they've grabbed the lace and it's ripped. Cut glass. Again, we had the shattered glass in granite as well. But could that be, another argument where someone smashed the glass on the floor? All these that I don't know. It's so interesting. Blood stains on the collar means just don't ask. And when you think of bloodstains on the collar, just don't ask. It's basically saying that something's happened, and this is the evidence of the aftermath of the damage. Again, what that is, I don't know, but it's most likely a fight that's broken out at some point. Be the first to the feast, let's choke on the past and take to the broken skies at last. God. And do you know what's funny? This is, it could be a callback to Chokehold itself, because then he was willingly sort of surrendering to her and, was infatuated with her. And it felt like it was so overwhelming that it was suffocating her. Now it's like we're choking on it. He's choking on what happened as he's reliving these fractured memories through this new perspective. And it's so funny because it's pretty much the same imagery, but with a different meaning now. And take the to the broken skies at last. So broken skies, it's fractured because that is what's happened now to this relationship. The skies aren't beautiful. They're not divine. They're not sacred. They're not pure. They're broken because the relationship is broken. It's died. It's fractured, like his kind of psyche. But he now understands that. He now knows that. And therefore, to make those skies whole again, he has to relive this trauma and ascend. So he's saying, now let's go, let's ascend, God, right.
Diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night sky.
That 8-string guitar as well. What you want from me. Oh God, that's so eerie, that noise in the background there.
You want the same.
Oh my God, is that the same noise as Chokehold, but they've just changed the sound of it slightly and slowed it down. Listen in the background.
The same as me.
It might be,
My redemption, eternal ascension, setting me free. So I'll take what I want, then leave. You made me wish I could disappear.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a song. Don't worry, I'm going to go back now and break it down. So you're going to watch me ascend. I mean, when he shouts that out, God, wow. And I know what you want from me. You want the same as me, my redemption, eternal ascension, setting me free. He wants integration. So I'll take what I want, then leave. And then he ends it with, you make me wish I could disappear. God. So you're going to watch me ascend. So there's so many things that, or so, yeah, so many things, so many parts that this could be aimed at, right? It could be aimed at the other person. Now you're going to watch me ascend. Now you're going to watch me start the healing process, right? Or it could be the anema projection. Now you watch me ascend now that I've integrated you. Or it could be to his old self. Now you watch me ascend. All right, because you are dissolved. I am no longer that same person. I am no longer that old vessel that I keep remembering in these memories. I am now present day vessel. I'm stronger. It is just unbelievable. Um, you want the same as me. And this is why I kind of felt at the beginning that maybe this was him realizing that she was also projecting onto him, because at the early stages, he was saying, you want, what was it at the beginning? She wanted someone to reflect her, right? Whereas now he's saying that you want the same as me, and that is healing. That's what they both want. And so now, are they coming to a common ground? Has he ultimately now realized, and this is the point where he has actually understood what the relationship was, why it was, how it made him feel, and she was actually going through exactly the same thing. And this is him now realizing that, and potentially going through this together. I don't know. I don't know if they're still, talking or whatever it is. Like, this whole thing is theory, right? But they essentially both want to heal. So my redemption, eternal ascension, setting me free. So they both want this, and they want it not because she saved him. It's what he's talking about here is him understanding has saved him, seeing everything clearly now without the anema projection, or with integrated the anema projection, understanding it all has now saved him, his redemption. And then it ends, you make me wish I could disappear. My God. Oh my God. And this line, I think, is very, very poignant, because he's saying it directly to her. You make me wish I could disappear. And I think what he means by that is, whenever I'm with you, or whenever I was with you, you made me wish I could disappear. You made me wish I could be someone else. You made me wish that I could lose myself within this relationship. But I think now the reason why this is so sad is because he understands and realizes he is not actually that person, and he never will be. And that's why now he's starting to ascend, because he finally understands. He's accepted that he's not that person. He's willing to do the shadow work to integrate and the start of ascending. And I think maybe with Ascensionism, what this is all about is his understanding that actually within the relationship, they were both trying to find themselves in each other, both projecting onto each other. But this is now the realization that actually the reason why the relationship didn't work is because it was all projection. It was all based upon a foundation that wasn't true, wasn't real. There was no substance to it. And yes, there was a relationship there, which he has admitted to, but maybe it wasn't out of love. It was out of the need for each other. But also, I think why Ascensionism is so important as well is because this is the first time that I can really, really, truly think of, maybe Granite as well, actually, that he's seeing the other person in this relationship as a human and not a projection. I think this is actually the first time, really, that he is seeing this and understanding it. Now, where that leads to, I honestly do not know, and I cannot wait now to get to episode 16 and find out. But we're gonna have to wait another week. But anyway, this has been another long one. But I hope that you're enjoying these. I'm the First Listen Guy. That was episode 15. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you next week on Sleep Token Sunday, episode 16. I love you and leave you. Until then.
Welcome to the show. I'm the first listen guy, taking it all in. Let the record play, let the journey begin.